Hello!
Hello!
We gotta have a talk, Percy.
Yeah.
Let's sit down.
Okay, let's sit down.
This island is awfully empty, and we gotta do something about it.
Yes, I agree.
Where do we start?
Well, I would say we start at the workshop. I think our inventor guy needs a workshop to work out of. And from there he would expand, right?
Yeah, what's an inventor without his workshop?
Homeless?
Yes! Exactly! So, here's my proposal.
Yes.
I'll do the workshop, and you will make things work in the shop.
That sounds like a plan.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
Great meeting. Goodbye!
Bye!
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 1 of Cogs and Clouds, where we design a playable steampunk map on a floating island in the sky. My name is Happy Sock, and today we are going to jump right in to this hole. And today we are going to jump right into building the most important feature of this island. Because I am standing on a big circle. That is where the workshop is gonna go. This is a very important structure that you will need if you want to play on this map, and it's also tightly tied into the lore of our missing inventor who inhabited this this island. We're going to be building all of this in creative mode, of course, and I'm gonna be using the Axiom mod to help us build up the big and beautiful industrial steampunk structures so we can focus especially on all the intricate details this steampunk island is going to have. I am incredibly excited to get this started, so buckle up because we are going to jump right in. Alright, so how does one go about building a huge workshop? Well, in my case, it's explaining to you how I go about it, which is, first of all, creating a basic shape. In this case, a flat and hollow disc, which allows us to get a feeling for how big the workshop is gonna go, and also how high it's going to be. Then one of the next very important features I use a lot is the stack feature, which allows us to, as it says, stack some blocks on top of each other as well as stack them in a certain direction. Then the replace mode allows us to replace the blocks without having to break them first, which is incredibly handy in our case. And of course, the clone feature, which allows us for not only cloning certain columns, as you can see here, but also selecting a box of a couple of blocks and rotate them in the direction you want them to face, as well as moving them in a direction where you are facing. And of course, there are a lot more features Axiom has to offer. However, I just wanted to share the ones that helped me the most when it came to sketching out the base of the workshop. I then continued with a more manual approach, designing some archways on 1/4 of the base, just so I could clone them 3 more times and save myself a lot of extra work. Once I was satisfied with the base, I pushed back the whole workshop before I added a huge glass dome on top of it. I tied it in with some more of the tough bricks just to continue working again on the base of it because I felt like it needed a little bit more of a support. And as I was experimenting a little bit back and forth with some different shapes, I came up with the idea of changing up the polished tough wall with some deep slate walls. I had the idea of the inventor coming into an already existing building and adding his own spin using some steel supports, which should help the building keep up with all of his experimenting. And this kind of translated into its own design language in a way that whenever you see some deep slate integrated into the building, it's supposed to show some sort of reinforcement the inventor added onto the initial tough structure. And speaking of additions, after I continued the steel supports up to the glass dome top, I figured it's time to add a real steampunk statement into our base structure. It's supposed to give off a somewhat brutalistic and machine-like vibe, while also serving as a very extra balcony opening over the entrance. And of course I had to add another floor into the building to actually make the balcony accessible. Then I figured it was time to continue to another side of the structure, because the challenge with a round building is to make it look interesting from each and every angle, which is why I decided to add another type of building, in this case made out of bricks, onto the side of the workshop. For this bit, I went with a more industrial style, as I was trying to get a little more into the inventor's mind. I felt like he would have experimented with adding different types of buildings to either fit different purposes, or simply to find out which type of architecture fits best for his projects. While figuring out the characteristics of this tower, I tried to focus especially on an interesting silhouette, as that is important to make the overall workshop feel balanced, even though we're playing with different design elements. Continuing with yet another one of the inventor's crazy design ideas, I added another structure onto the workshop. This time I went with the complete opposite of the previous one and built a spherical addition attached to the upper section of the building. Honestly, I don't even know what the inventor was thinking building this, but I tried tying it in with the rest of the workshop using the same block palette with copper, tough and deep slate. And lots of gears, of course. Well, everybody, we now have a huge workshop in place. This structure took me a little longer than expected, but I am incredibly pleased with how it turned out. Because no matter from which angle you're looking at it, there's always something interesting happening. We have these big gears scattered around, we have a lot of pipe action going on. I even tried to integrate a little bit of the particle effects because they just make everything look way more alive, but we will get to the details in just a few minutes. Also, I know this thing looks like a giant chicken head attached to the workshop. I can't unsee it, and I haven't found a way to fix it yet, but trust me, I have it on my list. I will work on that soon. But that shouldn't bother us too much at this point, because we are now going to take care of what's probably the most important part of the workshop itself. And I'm talking about a huge machine that is going to sit inside the workshop, and that is going to be of great help once the gameplay is all in place. I envision a big cylinder, maybe out of glass or something, so it's kind of see-through, and that is going to sit in the middle of this very big gear wheel right behind me. So that is the plan. Let's see. I have no specific design figured out yet. I think I'm gonna do it on the fly, and I'm gonna take you with me to help with my thought process. You guys are always such a great help with that. We're gonna start with a cylinder that has a height of 1, and we want it to be circular to match the gear wheel underneath it. And then we can decide the diameter of it. For example, this is a diameter of 10. I think I want this circle to fit inside the framing of the gear, so this might be a good size. I think I'm gonna go with the wax exposed copper for now. By pressing enter, we can make this shape become a reality. Now, what we can do next is just to play around a little bit with heights. We can mark out this whole structure and raise it maybe up to 2 and see how that looks. And I want to go back into my editing mode to create ourselves the glass cylinder, and I am going to go with uneven numbers here just to keep everything symmetrical in a way that uneven numbers always have one block in the middle. For this occasion, I made sure this hollow box is ticked because I want this cylinder to actually be hollow. Believe it or not, there are things going to happen inside. Now, this looks quite huge. I'm not sure if this size is going to overshadow the rest, but I think by pressing enter, we're just gonna plop it into existence and see how it feels like. We're just going to find out which shape and which size fits the purpose the most. If we imagine now, we could clone this bottom layer just to see how it would look like if we cap everything off. There we go, way better. Looking at this now, I feel like the glass looks a little bit unsupported, so what I want to do next is maybe put something over here. Yeah, I feel like this could work, however, this tone is kind of dark. maybe it's a little bit better to replace this with some tough wall. And what we can do now is simply clone this whole column and bring it over here. Like so. There we go. And one last time for over here. And that way we easily made ourselves some support beams for the structure. I feel like at the top there is a little more we can do to make things look a bit better. So let me just tinker around with the roof a little bit, and then we can see how we make this thing look technical. Okay, so now we definitely have something to cap off the big tank. It still looks a little bland, I have to admit that. We didn't put in all the little details and bits and bobs, but I want to sketch out the rough idea first, and then we can go into the details. And I'm also not sure if this machine is a little too big. I'm not sure if I want to narrow it down a little more. Let's see how it would look like if we just remove this glass part and then add a glass cylinder that is a little bit smaller in diameter. Yeah, okay, now, this looks very funny, as now the cylinder is very slim in comparison to all the copper blocks. There are lots of copper blocks, I realize that. So what I want to try is just narrowing down the whole structure of the machine itself by just one block, and see if it still overshadows all of the rest that is going on in here. Because of course the machine is important and it is a vital part of this whole project and gameplay, but I don't want it to be too menacing. It should still be manageable in size. So let me try narrowing everything down just a bit. Oh yeah, this is already looking way more balanced. We now have our bottom section tapered. We now took a lot of weight off of the top of this building. I'm still not sure if I want to have this pipe this big in diameter, but we're gonna work on that as well, because the next step is very fun. Because right now, it is just a big old glass tube with a lot of copper around it, and I want to add some gears, I want to add some redstone bits, so it looks really like a working machine. Of course, we have to add in our support beams back, because they got lost somewhere on the way. And also I feel like maybe putting some module over here that gives off the feeling that we are processing something, because that's what a machine does, right? It processes stuff. So let's see what technical aspects we can add to this machine. Okay, now that looks way more balanced. We now have this processor module at the side of it, which doesn't do anything at this point in time, and it might not even do anything at any point, except from maybe some little redstone components inside, which are going to blink when this thing is active. Then also we have this little clock-shaped thing, which could indicate maybe some pressure inside the tube, or just, you know, tell the time. Anyways, the next step for us is probably to get decorating. You might think, oh wow, but this is a decoration and this is a decoration. No, this is just the shape. We're gonna go decorating like there's no tomorrow. I've been itching to decorate this whole place for so long now, and as you can see in the background, I couldn't help myself. In some corners I already did some stuff, but the main thing, the real deal, is gonna be switching all of these repetitive blocks up. We have a lot of cyan stained glass that make up for the ceiling, the dome shape. We also have a bunch of tuff that's just waiting to be mixed with maybe some mossy cobblestone or with some stone bricks. There are so many options we have. And of course, this polished deep slate walls, which currently serve as an indicator for the supporting structures, they also are in need of a little more texturing. And then of course we have these little fun bits and bobs where we can come in and maybe put a light in there. Maybe we put something like this in there and make it a clock. So now it actually looked like it could be a working clock. Or I don't know, we could switch these things out for even more stairs to make it look a little thinner. Lots of options, lots of things still to do. I'm gonna see how I can connect things up. For example, I'm still not sure what to do with this pipe as it's quite big. But these are the kinks to work out on the go, I feel. So without any further ado, let's just get into the grind and decorate this whole place to make it really feel alive and once lived in. Oh my goodness, this was such a long time lapse and I had so much fun just decorating each and every single corner of this workshop. And now I'm finally done and I want to give you a walkthrough. So here we go. Look at this structure and how it has changed from the previous version. It is so much more textured, it's so much more alive with all the intricate details I was talking about. And the time lapse doesn't quite convey how big the structure actually is, as we are often just flying around with the camera. But look at this beauty. I'm so proud of all of the progress. This machine came a long way, really. We now have a lot of redstone bits. We have this integrated thing, which is going to show No, I won't spoil too much. You're gonna have to watch Percy's video for that. But yeah, behind me you can see another big type of machine with lots of gears sticking out. You shouldn't get too close, otherwise you might get hurt. Then another little tank, which kind of mirrors the one we have over there. And a little workplace for the inventor or for you, just to keep track of your thoughts. Then we have this little thing, which kind of looks like you can hoist something up or let some goods down from the upper level to the lower one, because there's no good way to transport heavy machines from the bottom to the top. This part, as you can see from the outside, this is the industrial type building. I decided to put all of the features you need to live inside there. So you have a little closet, you have a little hidden area where you can also store some stuff away, then a winding staircase leading upwards into a little kitchenette area where you can store all of your food, and you have a little tap water, you have an oven where you can process your food. I am especially proud of this little corner because the Axiom mod allows us to manipulate beds in a way that you can only put down one half of it. Like, okay, I'm gonna have to show you. You put down the bed and then you can delete just one part of it, and you can kind of make it look like a little step stool or a little sitting thing. I don't know what it's called. And once you come up here, you have a little reading nook maybe with another little bench, and away upstairs there is not currently anything up there, but we will see how we can utilize this area as well. But look at the upper section. We now have a fully decorated first floor with a whole library area with another little table where you can put things down, another little bench, and a little book where you can, I don't know, take notes or something. Maybe there are some Easter eggs hidden around, who knows? And also a huge work area where you kind of have the inventor's office where he can collect his thoughts and maybe lose some thoughts out of the window. You might recognize this little bit from earlier on. I had this in the middle of the industrial type building as some sort of railing so you don't fall down, but I had to move it for the interior that's currently in there, and I wanted to honor it by putting it over here. One other thing I really like, you can access the top of the machine through this little ladder, the staircase leading up here. Be careful, don't fall down there. We haven't figured out everything just yet, but there are things to work out along the way, of course. But for now, we have the opportunity to get on top of the machine and look over the workshop. I mean, this is just a wonderful view, right? And of course, we have this staircase leading across the library area. It's a little windy, but once you get up here, you are inside the chicken head. Currently, it is kind of a multiplayer area, but we are not quite sure if this is going to be multiplayer yet, so this might especially be up to change. I was really thinking about putting a little office for Percy and me in here, like a meeting place or something, because obviously we can't just hold our meetings on the floor like we just did. So this is probably going to change, but I just had so much fun playing around with all the decorations. And you might think, okay, Sock did a lot of decorations, she's probably sick of it. I am not. I'm still not done, because as amazing as the workshop is looking right now and as detailed and textured it is, look at the island. It is still kind of empty and it looks a little bit out of place. So I think we're just gonna do a little spin. And there we have it, a lovely exterior for a lovely workshop. I added 2 trees next to it just so it feels a little bit more tied into the surrounding of the kind of green island. So here you have it. I was very inspired by the Japanese pine tree with this one. It's supposed to give off the feeling like it's very old and it's been there for a long time. I have hidden some spore blossoms around here just to get this lovely particle effect of the spores flying around. And we also have this little azalea tree sitting on the other side of the workshop with a lovely bench looking at the flower bed over here. Somebody should water this one. And yeah, overall, I am incredibly satisfied. I'm always surprised how much of a little bit of foliage adds to the surrounding of a building. And I have also just installed the shaders for this Minecraft version and I haven't checked it out. So I really want to use this opportunity to do that with you guys, as I am itching to see this building with shaders. So let's activate them right now. The sun is so bright. Let's turn around. Oh my gosh, everything looks just so juicy. Oh, let's do a little fly around. I love how this workshop is looking with shaders. Oh my gosh, the shadow, the glass, our shadow. This is so beautiful. I love it so much. It kind of looks like a greenhouse now. I couldn't be more happy with this project and how this workshop has turned out. I am going to send you off for now, but I'm probably just going to jump into building the next thing on this island, which has a lot to do with the machine behind me. And speaking of the machine, I highly urge you to check out Percy's video, as he is doing some amazing data pack magic to make this machine come alive. And that is just mind-boggling to me. I don't know how he does it. But for now, I am going to send you guys off. Leave me a comment. What should I do with the chicken head? Should I leave it as it is, or should I change something up? I don't know. It's grown onto me. So leave me a comment. What do you think about it? But for now, I am going to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!